The Sacramento River flows from the mountains of Northern California to the San Francisco Bay. The river was once home to massive runs of salmon and abundant wildlife. Today, the Sacramento River is suffering, and the waters need our protection. Our river survey team started at Pittsburgh, at the mouth of the Delta, and headed up the Sacramento River, taking note of the many threats to the health of the salmon, who depend on this waterway for their survival.
Save the river, save the sea.
On the hillside here, we see a couple of drilling rigs, and they're probably drilling for natural gas, but it seems like there should be some regulations that keep those drilling rigs from being that close to a major waterway.
Save the mother and her family.
The river is starting to become smaller now, and they have the levee system here to control, and they call that flood control, but the river is not allowed to meander the way that it should, which causes problems as far as the wildlife that should be here. There should be more wetlands here. The river would be meandering out across on both sides, making more places for fish to exist in these smaller places with more plant life. There'd be more tules here, and the tules are that purifier of water and should be replanted, and that should be something that is given back to this river. But right now, nobody cares about this. It's like a pipeline.
Can you take what you want and say that we are free? If you put oil in the water, we won't sit quiet. And we were singing, stand up for what's right.
Well, this is the third set of these signs that we've passed along this river, indicating that the gas pipelines are crossing under the water to the other side. But this one is particularly interesting because you have a palm tree and a eucalyptus growing in front of it, and that's blocking you from even seeing this sign. So if you're fishing here, it could be dangerous for you too, not knowing, what's down there. But also, besides the gas pipelines that go across this river, so do sewer lines go across this river underneath. And it did get snagged by a boat upper Sacramento. No one knew it was happening for days while thousands of gallons of sewage came downriver.
Save the oceans and the trees. Save the people.
You see those planks that go up over the bridge those are the gates, and so right now it says it's open, but every time they're drafting water off to send to Southern California, they pull them up.
The Cross Delta Channel was built in 1951 to send water to farms, industries, and agencies in California's Central Valley. When water is released from Shasta Dam and from the Trinity Dam, which is piped over a mountain into the Sacramento River, government managers determine the amount to be diverted from the Sacramento through the Cross Delta Channel into the Eastern Delta. The water then flows 50 miles to the southeast and arrives at the Delta pumps. Millions of gallons of water per day are pumped into state and federal canals for use by agriculture and petroleum industries in Southern California cities. The loss of water from the watershed and the effect on the small fish, including salmon fry, is devastating.
So we're going with the current of the river. Over here, this goes into the pumps that pump the river down to Southern California. But we're doing a test to see if we're going to continue floating on down the river or if we're going to get sucked into where the pumps are at. So we're a 23-foot boat. I got a 225 horsepower motor, so I can pull us out of there. But that little salmon fry that's less than a half-inch long, he doesn't have that same choice. There's no propulsion. This is all man-made flow.
you don't know how many fish right now are being pulled into the pumps. This drawdown is the size of a major river here. This is half of the Sacramento water seems to be being pulled through this channel to go down to Southern California. And then the little salmon get chewed up into the pumps, and the Delta smelt get drawn into that. The fish here are only the indicators to us that this is a wrong process to be doing. People don't even know what's natural, the native plants here anymore. But we have a lot of invasive grapevines that took over the tall trees, is choking out the native plants like the willow, like the tule, red willow, silver leaf willow, from doing its job because they're necessary for the salmon.
When you do what you want and say you come in peace, if you don't open your eyes, how can you see?
This is the Dunnigan Slough, or the Colusa Basin Slough. And there is a weir that looks like a dam that's, right now it's running water out of it, releasing water, and that's part of what this muddy water is coming down, is when they release from the ag fields, which has a lot of agricultural runoff, and the fish in there are pretty much unedible. But you can see the color of the slough coming into the river here, and the change of the color, because already the river is like not the color that I am comfortable with, but this is even worse. And so these kinds of things coming in, you know, we should figure out something to do about it.
Don't look down when we march downtown for some truth, 'cause you can't complain if you don't find a way to stay alive too.
More of this should be along the waterway. You got the cottonwood trees and you got the willow trees that are canopying over the water. And so you also have the grasses along the bank, which means there's an undercut under the bank, meaning that there would be a place for fry to get food from these trees, because there's bugs in these willows.